Hello everyone, you are welcome to today's class. My name is Adebankem. We'll be taking a look at NABTEB Biology Theory Questions. We'll be discussing the answers as we look through the questions. Question 1, mention 5 beneficial uses of bacteria. We know that bacteria can be harmful, but there are still some bacteria that are beneficial. Number 1, bacteria is involved in the decaying of dead organic material into humus, which serve as plant growth. So bacteria help to decay dead organic material that improve soil texture and which definitely supports plant growth. Also, 2, bacteria is involved in the production of composite manure. Another beneficial use is that bacteria helps in conversion of atmospheric nitrogen to nitrate through ammonia and nitrites. Demystification of nitrates. This means there are some bacteria, they are called nitrogen fixing bacteria. So basically, they convert atmospheric nitrogen to nitrates. Another useful beneficial use of bacteria is it helps in vinegar making from alcohol, and bacteria is also involved in tanning of leather. So these are the beneficial uses of bacteria. Question 1b. State 3 places where virus may be found. So where can virus be found? Viruses may be found in air, in soil, and water. Also, state 3 places where bacteria may be found. Bacteria are known to be ubiquitous. They can be found everywhere. So they are found in air, water, under dirty finger, in food, contaminated food also. The next question, question 1c, the question states briefly the various methods that can be adopted in the prevention of viral disease. So what's the question, what's the interpretation of the question is to state the methods that can be used to prevent the spread of viral disease in animal. So number 1, you stocking the farm with healthy animals helps to prevent the spread of viral disease. Another method is feeding the animals with clean food. Another method is keeping the animal in tidy and clean habitats, that's in good, neat environment. 4, vaccination, vaccinating the animals against viral disease. Number 5 is to raise disease-resistant species of animals. So those are the 5 ways to prevent viral disease in animals. So in plants now, how can we prevent the spread of viral diseases in plants? 1, using the right planting distance, method, and season. 2, removing and destroying infected plants. Any plant that is infected by pests should be removed. 3, spraying plants with pesticide at the right time. Also 4, growing disease-resistant crops like rice, wheat. Those are disease-resistant crops. 5, planting healthy seedlings, and stem cutting. So these are the various ways to reduce or prevent viral diseases in plants. The next question, question 2a, says describe the external features of a named monocotyledonous flowering plant. So what are the external features? What can you see in a monocot plant? What is monocotyledonous plant? Means plants with one cotyledon. So they have one seedling. So example, what are the example of monocotyledonous plants? We have maize, rice, oil palm tree, elephant grass, spear grass, sugarcane, etc. So How do you describe a monocotyledonous plant? 1. Roots are numerous, they are long and slender. When you see a maize plant, the root is long. Then 2, all the roots arise at the same point at the base of the stem. All the roots, they arise at just one point. 3, stem is long and cylindrical. 4, stem shows a clear note. Note, it means where leaves shoot from a stem. So, and it shows a distinct, a clear, you can see the leaf literally coming out from a particular spot on the stem. And it shows a clear internode. That means the spaces between the nodes. The next question, B, 2B. What is the role of green algae in aquatic habitats? Number 1, primary producer. 2, green algae remove excess carbon dioxide from water, from aquatic habitats. 3, green algae returns oxygen to the habitat. And also, this green algae can also pollute water. So these are the roles of green algae in aquatic habitats. Question 3A. Define the terms photosynthesis and respiration. So in defining terms, you need to make sure the key words are indicated. So photosynthesis is the process by which green plants manufacture carbohydrates. You can either put carbohydrates or starch. Carbohydrates from water. You don't just stop as process where plants manufacture their food. No, it's not complete. It's process where green plants manufacture their food, carbohydrates, from water and CO2. That's in the presence of water and carbon dioxide, using sunlight and giving off oxygen as a byproduct. So those the key words there: green plants manufacture carbohydrates from water and CO2, carbon dioxide, in the presence of sunlight, and what is being given out as byproduct, oxygen. So the next one, respiration. Respiration is just like the opposite of, not literally, but opposite of photosynthesis. Respiration is a process in which oxygen is used to break organic matter to release energy in all living cells, while water and carbon dioxide are released as waste products. For photosynthesis, oxygen is the byproduct, but for respiration, oxygen is used up while water and carbon dioxide are the waste products. The next question, 3B, what are the differences between photosynthesis and respiration? Once you know the definition of these two terms, you'll be able to differentiate correctly. So for photosynthesis, it stores energy in organic compound. For respiration, it releases energy from organic matter. So carbon dioxide is used in the process of photosynthesis, but for respiration, carbon dioxide is released as the waste product. 3, another key difference, oxygen is a byproduct, it's given off in photosynthesis, but for respiration, oxygen is used in the process. 4, another key difference, water is being used in the process of photosynthesis. Water is used up. For respiration, water is given off. Water is liberated. Another difference is photosynthesis, the location now. Photosynthesis takes place in chloroplasts only, while respiration takes place in all living cells. So that answers the question. The next question, describe one mechanism of transportation in plants. How is the mechanism, what is the mechanism of transporting, e.g. water or food in plants? So we'll be looking at water in terms of transporting water. So the first one, soil water flows into cell sap or root hairs. The soil water flows into root hairs. Then the water in the root hairs move into xylem. Xylem is involved in transporting water from roots to the upper part, to the other parts of the plant, to leaves and the other parts. So water in the root hairs move into xylem vessels through the cortex, endodermis, and pericycle. Then water in the xylem vessels or the roots is moved into the xylem of the stem branches and leaf under root pressure. So basically, water is absorbed by the root, then is transported by xylem to the other parts such as leaf and stem. So that's like the basic mechanism of transportation in plants. That's for water transportation. The next question, 4A. Give 3 differences between autotrophic and heterotrophic modes of nutrition. Autotrophic, auto means self, manufacture of food by self. Then heterotrophic means they depend on the food manufactured by plants. So the key differences now, 1, the organism, that's the green plants, make food. They make their own food. They manufacture their own food. Therefore, heterotrophic mode of nutrition, the organism, that's animals or human, depend on food made by plants. 2, possible only in the presence of sunlight. Plants can manufacture their food in the presence of sunlight, but for heterotrophic, it's possible all times. 3, makes complex organic compounds from simple inorganic materials. So they make their food, starch or carbohydrates, from simple inorganic materials like CO2 and water. Then for heterotrophic mode of nutrition, they take in complex organic compounds. They take in the starch that is produced from food that are produced from plants. So that answers the question. The next question, state 3 differences between parasitic and saprophytic modes of feeding. Parasitic, that what comes to your mind is parasite. That means they need a host to thrive. Then for saprophytic, food, they make their food from dead organism. So the 3 differences, 1, food drawn from living organism, that's the host. Food are drawn from the host, living organism. But for saprophytic, food taken from dead organisms. 2, absorb already digested food or undigested food. For saprophytic, they absorb already digested food only. Parasitic may cause disease or death to the organism, to the host. They can cause disease. But for saprophytic, they cause complete breakdown because they feed on dead organism. So they break it down or decompose the substrate. So these are the 3 key differences between parasitic and saprophytic modes of nutrition. State the mechanism involved in the digestion of piece of fish in the stomach and in the small intestine. The question, the interpretation of this question is you just say how. Mechanism means how does it happen in the body. So how is digestion of fish when you ingest it or consume fish, how is it digested? In the stomach and in the small intestine. The first step, turning mixing by the stomach wall. There's mixing of the food of the fish ingested by the stomach wall. After that, addition of water, enzymes, and HCl or gastric juice. Then 3, relaxation and contraction of the pyloric sphincter at the duodenum. So there's relaxation, there's contraction after enzyme has been acted on the food substance. Then the final step, neutralization of the acid from the stomach. So the first step, there's mixing. Second step, addition of water, enzymes to digest the food, and also acid. Then relaxation and contraction. And the final step is to neutralize the acid medium from the stomach. So that's the mechanism involved in the digestion of fish in stomach. Then states, name the 2 reagents used in testing protein. To test for the presence of protein, the 2 reagents that are involved is the Millions reagent and the Biuret reagent. Millions reagent and the Biuret reagents are used to test for the presence of protein. Next question. State 5 functions of the skeleton. So what are the functions of the skeleton? 1, give shape to the body. So it's the skeleton that gives shape to the body, supports the body. Skeleton gives shape, it supports the body, and also protects the bones and delicate organs and structures of the body. Skeleton protects delicate organs and structure of the body. It also provides places for attachment of muscles. Then finally, it joins the muscles to bring about movement of the body. So those are the functions of skeleton. They serve as protective layer, they support the body, they protect delicate parts of the body, and also helps in movement of the body. So the next question. With the aid of a diagram, describe how muscle cause bending in a named joint. So how does muscle cause bending? For example, when you want to push a door, there's relaxation, there's contraction of muscle, or when you are doing push-up exercise. So how the muscle cause bending in a named joint, we'll be looking at the elbow joints. We have knee joints, we have elbow joints. But for this question, we'll be looking at the elbow joint. So what happens when you push a door? So when you push, there are 2 major things that comes in play. We have the triceps and the biceps, and they work in opposites. 1, when the triceps contracts, the biceps relaxes and the arm is stretched. To stretch your arm, this is the upper arm, this is the lower arm. So when the tricep contracts, then the bicep relaxes. Then you're able to stretch the arm. Then the second part, in order to pull the lower arm to the upper arm, it will be the opposite. So the first one, tricep contracts and bicep relaxes. So the second part, the bicep contracts and the tricep relaxes, and the arm is bent at the elbow joint. That means the lower arm then moves to the upper arm. So the lower arm is brought close to the upper arm. So let's look at the diagram. So this is just an illustration of what was explained earlier. You see the triceps, the biceps, they work in opposites. When this contracts, this relaxes, and when this relaxes, this contracts. And there's movement in terms of stretching and in terms of the lower arm moving to the upper arm. So the next question, what aid would you give to a person with a suspected simple fracture at the tibia. If a person has a fracture, what aid, what's the first help you give to the person if the person sustained a fracture of the tibia? So the first thing rather is to encourage the person to lie on the back. Then you put a splint, like a soft padded tissue, just to avoid swelling or to reduce inflammation or pain. So put a splint on either side of the leg. 3, you put a bandage or tie the splint away from the injured point. Then use a stretcher to take the person to the nearest hospital. Doesn't want to carry the person can sustain further injury from that. So use a stretcher to take the person to the nearest hospital and just reassure the victim of safety so that the victim can be relaxed. So that's it. Question 6A. State 4 physical characteristics in man which show variation among offspring from the same parents. So this is talking about genetics. So what are the physical characteristics in man that show variation from offspring or from the same parents? 1, tallness, shortness, complexion, dark complexion, light complexion. Then you have baldness, the nose, the shape of the hair. Some people are hairy, you see some they are not. Then dwarfism, fatness, thinness, albinism. Then you have attached ear lobe. So they have different physical characteristics that can be expressed in offspring of the same parent. So tallness, shortness, hairy body, fatness, thinness, ear lobe, attached or free ear lobe. So these are the physical characteristics that show differences, that show variation among offspring from the same parents. The next question. Explain briefly one way in which the characteristics for tallness is passed from parent to offspring. So how is the characteristics of tallness passed from parent to offspring? So 1, the alleles of tallness can be homogeneous, can be homozygous, or heterozygous. So we have this homozygous having the same gene, then this heterozygous. So 2, during gamete formation, the gene separates independently. Then what happens next? Gene of the gametes combine randomly during fertilization. This is what it means. You have this tallness, then this. So these can separate independently and they now combine with one another. This come with this. You have TT, then with this. So if you have TT, this dominant tallness, that means the offspring can be tall, will be tall. Then if you have this, that means one is dominant, one is dominant, one is recessive. So it can still be expressed. The tallness can still be expressed. So this is what this explains. So the alleles for tallness can be homogeneous, this, or heterogeneous. And this separates, the gene separates independently and they combine randomly during fertilization. When you have this, it's possible that the offspring will be tall. So the next question. How is the sex of a woman embryo determined at fertilization? So how is the sex of a woman embryo, either male or female, how is it determined at fertilization? One thing you should know that the male produces two different types of gametes. We have the X and Y. So the male sperm produces this X and Y. Then for female, the only type of gametes produced by female is X. So once this combines with this XY, then XX, if the male release this X gametes, because the female has just X gametes, so it combines with X gametes, making the child will be a female. But if the male gametes carry the Y, releases the Y and the X from female, that means the child will be male. So it's as simple as that. So let's look at it. The male produces two different types of gametes, the X and Y gametes. The female produces just one type, that's the X gamete. So after mating, numerous male gametes surround the female gametes. So some of these male gametes carry Y and the X chromosome. So if the male gamete carrying the Y chromosome fuses with the X chromosome from the female, that will also determine the sex of the children. That means the child will be a male child. So that's it, the explanation on that. Now we have come to the end of this class. To see more questions like this, make sure you follow the channel, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section, and see you in the next class.
Hi, I'm sure you enjoyed the content you just watched. To see more episodes as that, preparing you for your oncoming exams, smash the subscribe button on this channel right now and visit the playlist that we've made for you, covering over 50 types of different exams, including JAMB, WAEC, Cacao,